Hello and welcome to Matt's Garage. Today we're going to take a look at how to use T-nuts to attach T-track to a jig. T-nuts, T-track, jig. Let's get started. So first I want to tell you, why do we want to do this? The simplest reason is that when you're attaching T-track to a jig, especially a jig that has a slot like this one has where you really don't have a lot of wood, the normal way of using wood screws or even epoxy is not really going to be as secure as you need it to be. Remember, this part of a jig, this is part of my tapering jig, needs to have a clamp secured into the track, and it needs to clamp down on a workpiece. And so the last thing you want is the T-track pulling up because it's not secured correctly. So I thought about it a little bit, and I realized that I had T-nuts, 3/8-inch T-nuts with 1/4-inch necks. I had screws that were appropriate for those T-nuts, and it struck me that just pressing the T-nuts in, little friction fit, putting a recess in place to make sure that when any of the pieces ride along either your table saw top, or in this case, the top of the jig itself, you don't have any T-nuts touching where they shouldn't be. And so I realized this would be a very secure and very solid connection. So let's get started, and I'll show you how I did this. All right, I've removed a section of T-track, and you can see here that we have the 3 original holds. I'm just going to clean those out with the drill, so we'll do that right now. Just to get them the right size. Obviously, if you were doing this with a blank channel, you'd probably insert your T-track first, use a punch to get the positions of the holds, maybe remove the track and drill the holds out. In fact, you could probably do it with the track in place. In my case, I just decided to remove the track so you could see what I'm doing. Now we're going to flip it over. And on the back, we've got our holds all the way through. Now we're going to come along with the Forstner bit, and we'll just get it centered in the 1/8-inch hole. It doesn't have to be perfect, just has to be good enough to give you a little recess. And you don't need much on the Forstner bit here. Just when you first feel it bite, and maybe just a little bit after that, that's enough. So here we go. That was probably even too much, but that's fine. That's just about perfect. I'm actually lifting up on the drill a little bit just to make sure I don't put too much pressure in. I'm going to go a little deeper on this one. I think it's a little shallow. Yeah, they're probably fine. And so you can see what we're talking about here. Nice little recesses. In fact, this one that I thought was fine is probably a little too shallow. I'm just going to take a peek. No, that'll be fine. All right, now the final step. We're going to insert the T-nuts. Final step on the T-nut part anyway. So I just sort of position it on there. Again, these holds are a little too narrow, so I get it just about right. I'll throw this scrap piece of maple on top of it, grab a hammer, and then I'll just go with the edge of the hammer just to get it set nicely. We'll do the same for the other two very quickly. This does not take long at all. A little bit of press to get it set. And then on the edges to get it fully set. And one more. And that should be good enough. All right, so we've got 3 T-nuts nicely set in place. They'll actually pull themselves in a little bit after the T-track gets inserted. Got a little bit of blowout here, but that's actually fine. I could clean that up with a chisel if I wanted to. I'm going to pop the T-track back in. And then we're going to get our screws and screwdriver. I'll start with the one in the middle. Once it catches the T-nut, you can sort of feel it. Now, there's a couple of different varieties of T-nut that you can get. I happen to have ones with the flat base. They also make ones that have a 2 or 3 little claws, if you like, so that when you hammer them in, they bite and they don't rotate. For this application, that actually is probably preferred. But I didn't have them laying around, and I was fairly certain, and my tests proved that this is not going to really be a big problem. That's how it looks. I'm just going to finish this up. And one more. All right. So now we have our T-track properly installed. I'm just going to snug this one down just a little bit more. And there you have it. Clean on the front, nice and flush, a little bit recessed on one end, and nice recessed on the back. So that's the process. Let's wrap it up. Well, I hope you enjoyed that video. I think it's a really cool way to attach T-track, certainly to jigs. It's clean, it's simple, and it's secure. So I'm looking forward to the next time I use my tapering jig to a really simple setup, and also to knowing that I am going to have good, solid connections to my workpiece. As you can see, I used it before I did this project, and I started getting concerned, as I mentioned earlier. So I'm very happy with this. Hey, hope this helps. Make sure to like this video and subscribe to Matt's Garage, and I hope you get a lot of value out of them. See you next time.